Is SEER disappearing? We're going to talk about that right now.
Hey guys, Joshua Griffin here, serving the Middle Peninsula and the Northern Neck. Wanted to do a quick video because there's always been kind of this misnomer in the heating and air industry, and that is revolving around how efficient systems are and how they're rated and all of that. So for the longest time, and even still currently during the making of this video, the number that most companies and even customers use to describe how efficient a system is SEER, S-E-E-R, SEER. And that stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. And that number is kind of it's like a number that the government attaches to that system, kind of just to describe how efficient it is. Just kind of like, you know, a car that you buy, it may have a number attached for the gas mileage. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly how efficient it is. Just like with a car, you know, there's a lot of variables, maintenance, how much you drive it, what kind of driving you're doing, a highway or city, you know, things like that. Same thing with heating and air. And because of that, the industry as a whole is looking at other options. There's already EER, and I heard recently there's going to be a SEER 2 rating. But let me break this down for you a little bit, because I think it's important to understand that SEER, you know, ultimately it is, you know, a good measurement, kinda. And what I mean by that is the way they factor in SEER and they're deciding what that number is that should be attached to it is they do a bunch of different measurements, and they're measuring how efficient it is when it's running at 100% capacity. And the reason that's important to know is, you know, when you're talking about different types of systems, they're not all created equal. So for example, we have a system that's 17 SEER, it's inverter, compressor, variable speed, blower, all that stuff. And that is not necessarily, when you're comparing apples to apples, the same as all 17 SEER systems, if you know what I'm saying. So for example, we also sell another system that's 17 SEER, a different brand, but that system has a multi-stage compressor. It's actually a 2-stage compressor. So when you're comparing apples to apples, they actually don't compare, if that makes sense. So keep in mind when you're talking about, say, well, let's just talk about the different compressors. I did a whole different video about different stages and things like that, but I'll do a really quick synopsis on it. When you're talking about a single stage system, it's either off or it's on, and it's running at 100% capacity. Single stage, there's no in between. If you're talking about a multi-stage unit, say like a 2 or 3 stage compressor, there's going to be stages to that. So like it could be running at 70% in first stage and 100% in second stage, or, you know, some variation of that. But the cool thing with inverter technology, and it's actually way more common now than it used to be. I'd say if we were having this conversation 5 or 10 years ago, inverter technology, I would have to probably sit down and explain to you exactly what's going on. But now, you know, most people they're used to seeing it. They're getting more and more used to, you know, a variable speed blower motor. They're, you know, they in the old days, their drapes would fly open when the furnace would come on, and then you put in a variable speed system, and they would think something's wrong. Well, it's just barely blowing now. But now folks are getting more and more used to, you know, whisper quiet systems, variable speed, inverter, you know, technology and things like that. And so the point is, you know, single stage, there's, you know, on or off, multi-stage, there's some in-betweens, But inverter technology, or different brands have different verbiage for it, but essentially there's going to be a lot of in between, and it's going to be ramping up and ramping down based on how, you know, what's going on, what's the load, how fast does it need to run, things like that. And so there will be times when that system's barely running. You know, it's only running at 30% capacity, just barely running on. It's still removing moisture from the house on a hot summer day, and it's still keeping the house nice and cool, but it's not having to draw tons of energy. There's no, you know, it's not kicking on with these big spikes in energy and things like that. So currently, still, as during the making of this video, SEER is a lot of times the number that we use to talk about how efficient a system is, but just realize not all systems, even though that SEER number may be the same, they're not all created equal. You need to look at a little bit more than that. You know, is it a multi-stage compressor, or is it an inverter, you know, system, or whatever? So if you have any questions, we would love to earn your business. If you're in the Virginia area, Tidewater, Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck areas, we work anywhere within an hour of our shop. And so we have customers all the way up in the Northern Neck, customers all the way down in the, you know, Newport News, Williamsburg areas. And we'd love to earn your business. If you have any questions, give us a call, 804-505-0247. Thank you.